Ravenous is a movie about supernatural cannibals slaughtering a group of men in a remote California outpost in the 1840s. But I'm going to spend most of my video talking about how much I wanted the two main characters to kiss. Well, howdy cowpokes, and welcome back. We're wrapping up Western 4 consecutive videos, formerly Western Month, with a look at 1999's Ravenous, directed by Antonia Bird. It tells the story of a remote military fort during the Mexican-American War, which is under siege by a Wendigo, a creature of Algonquin myth that was once a man but now feeds upon humans to steal their strength, and who becomes gripped by a ravenous hunger for human flesh. And before I get to how unbelievably, unbearably horny the movie is, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Take it away, Robbie Duke.
Thanks, Mildred. I appreciate you giving me a second chance after the comments were less than receptive to me.
That's fine, Robbie. Just keep it together, because I kind of need you to do like a good job on this.
I think perhaps people miss Bobby.
Well, no, they don't, because people don't come here for Bobby. They come here for me. He thought he was the star of the channel. He's not. I'm the draw here, so...
Do you think that maybe you two could work things out? Maybe you're letting your pride get the best of you.
All right, okay, that's enough. I'm not taking this shit from some dry-ass puppet. Hey, you! How do you know cannibals aren't snooping on your online activity right now, finding out all sorts of details about you that they can use to capture and devour you later? Surfshark VPN will protect you from any cannibal trying to snoop on your online activity. Using the internet without a VPN, or virtual private network, practically invites cannibals to find all of your personal data. They're putting together a flavor profile from your online purchase history to decide what recipe to use on you. Did you ever consider that? Have you even thought of that? Not to mention, your ISP logging all sorts of info about you. Surfshark lets you mask your internet activity from prying eyes by encrypting it, so anybody that tries to peep your business won't see nothing. With one click, you can change the country that websites think you're in. Maybe grab a little bit of content from a different country for a change. I've tried to do that with other VPNs and I could never get it to work, but legit, Surfshark, I got it to work consistently. Don't take my word for it though. Go to surfshark.deal/cats and enter promo code CATS for 83% off your Surfshark subscription and 3 extra months for free. Click that link in the description. Ravenous tells the story of Captain John Boyd, a soldier in the Mexican-American War dealing with PTSD and survivor's guilt for having frozen up in the heat of battle and left his comrades in arms to die. Through sheer dumb luck, Boyd manages to capture the commanders of an enemy battalion? I don't know, army group. A group of army guys. The top brass realized that he was a coward, but since he captured the enemy commanders, they gotta pretend like he's a war hero, so they give him a medal and a big ceremony and promotion and stuff, but then they get rid of him by sending him to the remote Fort Spencer in a cold part of California, which apparently California has. I didn't know that. I thought California was warm the whole place. Nope, there's cold parts. There he meets a cast of kooky guys and gals, but the fun is interrupted when a mysterious drifter named Calhoun arrives, having barely survived a disastrous expedition where he and his traveling companions were forced to eat human flesh. Calhoun fled, leaving one of the eaten men's widows to the machinations of the remaining cannibals, who now just liked eating people. They just like it now. That's their thing now. We all developed weird hobbies over the pandemic. These guys got into cannibalism. A bunch of the people from Fort Spencer mount a rescue mission to fight off the cannibals, but George, who is indigenous, is like, yo, just so everybody knows, I don't want to be the one to have to bring this up, but just so you know, that dude who said he ate human flesh, he's a Wendigo now. Just saying. Don't say I didn't tell you. And Boyd's like, what? No. Some people who eat human flesh stay cool. Not all of them are Wendigos. Anyway, I'm not going to recap it after that. Go watch the movie, you knuckleheads. You'll have a great time with this one. It's real violent though, and there are plenty of dead animals, mostly horses, so be ready for that. I like to warn you, when there's dead animals in the movie, you don't see, I don't think any of the animals get killed, but there's a bunch of horse heads and stuff, so. Ravenous is a blast. The cast is packed and stacked, particularly in the back. Guy Pearce, Robert Carlyle, David Arquette, Neil McDonough, Jeremy Davies, and Hatsune Miku? It's an all-you-can-character act buffet. Forget people. The only thing these actors are chewing on is scenery. I don't normally focus too much on a movie's editing because I'm a big fraud and I don't know nothing about movies or movie making. But the editing in Ravenous, by Neil Farrell incidentally, felt really novel to me. The way the movie just constantly flipped between tones, back and forth, from being a goofy comedy to tense survival horror without missing a beat. The frenetic action that underscores the quieter moments, the unspoken intimacy several of the characters have with one another. There's a real depth to the presentation here. The soundtrack was also delightfully weird. The music never seemed to fit the scene, but that somehow worked in the movie's favor. There'd be like this suspenseful scene playing out and these jaunty tunes would come out of nowhere. And I can't explain why it works exactly, but it does. But none of that is why you're here. You're here for me to talk about how powerfully, grippingly homoerotic this movie is. By the end of the story, it's just two beautiful men grappling with one another while one tries to goad the other to give in to temptation. Horny spoilers from here on out. Also, content warning for some light discussion of sexual abuse. It's not going to be too much, but, better safe than sorry. Turns out Calhoun's not Calhoun. He's Colonel Ives, a Wendigo who's been fangoriously devouring people for a long time. He wants to get Boyd to join him in that hashtag Wendigo life, but Boyd's a real stick in the mud who thinks that murdering and eating people is wrong. What a fuddy-duddy. And it's just wonderfully gay. I can't be the only one to see this. Ives is trying to get Boyd to give in and take pleasure in the bodies of men because the Wendigos conspicuously eat almost exclusively men in the film. The quivering desire in each scene where he tries to seduce Boyd to his side is noticeable and palpable. Tell me I'm imagining it. The fact that the film ends with Boyd on top of Ives mimicking a sex? Ives grinning, clearly enjoying himself and wondering aloud which one of them will eat the other? Just two guys hanging out, putting their bodies in each other's mouths. Cannibalism in this movie is sometimes just the same stuff you do during sex.
He was licking me.
What?
He was licking.
Yeah, here we see Ives licking another man's tummy, but in a straight way. When Ives describes his evil plan to live in a Wendigo community of like-minded cannibals, he says he'll choose his victims carefully so as to not break up families.
We won't kill indiscriminately. No. Selectively. Good God. We don't want to break up families.
Like being a homewrecker? Like in a sex way? Ives describes having suicidal thoughts and depression before learning he just needs to eat people a little bit. Not unlike the experience of a lot of closeted queer people, except for the eating people part. That is where the analogy ends. Here, being a Wendigo is portrayed as something powerful, sensual, pleasurable, but something that isolates you. Other people won't understand or accept you, and also, even if they did, you would have to murder and eat them, so there's that. But it's that loneliness that drives Ives, hoping to find someone to share his very complicated life with, hoping to build a community. Ives doesn't love Boyd, but he wants him. And not just physically, like emotionally too. And this should not go without saying, but both of these men are hunktacular cuts of beef. Both of these men are scrumptious little tarts. And if you can watch this movie and tell me you're not supposed to want to have sex with Ives, then you are a liar. You lied to my face. The drive to become a Wendigo is irresistible. Boyd is told by George's sister Martha, in no uncertain terms, that he can never be rid of his desires.
Wendigo eats. Must eat more. He never enough. He takes. Never gives. You start Wendigo. You give yourself. You must die.
A Wendigo takes and takes and takes. They are manifestations of hunger and greed. The only solution is to be giving of yourself, to give yourself to someone else. The monster as queerness analogy is one I've always found a tad unhelpful. Because if we extend this analogy to real life, it would be good for Boyd to give in to temptation and accept that he just wants to taste delicious man meat. In fiction, it would make him into an evil monster murdering spirit type of creature. Nonetheless, in this case, I feel like you can take Martha's statement here to mean that the only cure to the gnawing feeling of desire he holds is a genuine loving connection with someone else. A relationship that isn't merely taking pleasure in someone else like Ives, but mutually providing one another with pleasure. Ives is literally a predator. He could be said to represent a sort of predatory sexuality, someone who wants to get their rocks off and doesn't consider the well-being of others, someone who oversteps people's boundaries and won't take a firm no for an answer. The exact type of person who is most dangerous for someone struggling with their sexual identity, like Boyd. Contrast that with Colonel Hart, a kindly and gentle man who constantly stresses how much he likes Boyd, who invites him to get drinks and asks about his hobbies and interests, and who also, reluctantly, becomes a Wendigo by the end of the movie. Even their names, Ives, like I have, a self-reflective statement, and Hart, like a guy with a big heart, you know, like love. And also, Boyd. Hart represents a healthier sexuality, one built on mutual respect and consent. He's somewhat led astray by Ives, but the movie makes it clear that deep down he remains a good person. He gave in when someone took advantage of his desires and did things he hated doing, but deep down, he wants what's best for Boyd. The film reads to me less about queerness as a monster and more about the ways that non-heteronormative desire make you feel like a monster, how repression is traumatic and can drive people to dark places, and that trauma can manifest to some as abuse. Also how incredibly, unspeakably hot Robert Carlyle is. Like, holy shit, oh my god, seriously? What the fuck, dude? Oh my god. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link in the description and use promo code CATS to get 83% off your subscription and your first 3 months free. Protect yourself from cannibals, also real problems on the internet.